Hey there, YouTube. We're going to jump into the French news, covering the riots here. I have some questions right off the bat. Let me ask some questions. Is there an expectation that for a political party on the left to be legitimate, it has to have 100% control over everyone that supports, the party? No, of course not, right? That would be impossible. That would be impossible for a party to have control over every single individual in that party. So my next question is then, why do we accept bad actors who look at criminals committing crimes and then try to paint a broad brush across the entire protest, across the entire, left parties, protest movement, the entire thing, right? And they say, disregard. They basically are trying to disregard any discussion about the complaints, right? Disregard any discussion about the complaints that are being, presented by the people. And they're saying, just look at these criminals, look at these thugs, right? Look at these people committing crimes just because they want to commit crimes. They're not protesters. Why do we allow that? Why do we allow bad actors to say the only way you can be legitimate is if you have 100% control over your, everyone that, claims to be on the left, right? Why do we allow these bad actors to paint our entire movement like this? These are criminals. These people are being arrested. They're committing crimes. They're stealing. Some of them are stupid enough to do it without masks. There's been well over 1,000 arrests. They're looting. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're looting firefighters and fire trucks that are, firefighters trying to do their job, trying to make sure the city doesn't burn down. They're looting them. Why do we allow bad actors to point to those criminals and say, you see, this is the left. This is the left. The left believes in this. And why don't we push back on the left elements that do defend this, that do spend their energy saying, well, it's just property. Well, they got insurance. You're pushing people too far. This is what happens. It's true. It's true. But you shouldn't be saying that in a defense of these actions. You should be saying that in condemnation. Like, yes, these people are committing crimes, but you can only push people so far. The left movements don't have control over every single individual and the choices that they make. We're talking about very desperate people, right? Well, a lot of people, including one person in our Discord, has been consistently painting everybody as thugs and criminals, and not really wanting to have a discussion about the situation that put these people, in this state, right? In fact, that person is saying that the shooting that triggered these riots was fully justified. That cop was justified. That cop, he felt like he was in danger. So he was justified in executing that 17-year-old teenager who was terrified of a man pointing side like gangster style, putting the barrel right on the glass and screaming at him. Right? So he panics and hits the gas, does not attempt to run over the cop, and the cop executes him. Some people are saying that was a justified killing. And those same people are looking at criminals committing crimes and saying, this is the entire left. Why are we letting them get away with that? That is not a good argument. It's far more complicated than that. the left parties in France do not support this violence. Okay, and this idea that a political party has to have control over everybody that claims to be a member of it, right? Because anybody can claim to be anything, right? Most of these people probably don't vote. Most of these people that are committing crimes probably don't vote, and if they are politically active, they'd identify as something like an anarchist or something, right? Completely pointless, right? Okay, then, well, you know, thanks for fucking everything up for not a fucking good goddamn reason in the world. Like literally nothing. You're fighting for nothing. But let's get into it. Zeoduke, I don't have time to give you that context, okay? We're just going to keep moving. This channel over here has literally been live streaming. Like they had this guy standing out here for like 3 hours, like in front of a Paris like cafe or something. He was out here for like hours live streaming. France riots, Marseille gun shop looted amid fears. Yeah, I actually did see that. I've seen you're saying this is a gun shop, but I've also seen footage of police vehicles being raided, right? Police vehicles filled with armor and weapons and ammo and all kinds of shit, which is an interesting argument to demilitarize the police, right? That, well, wait a minute, if the police, because there's the perception that the police would never lose control of, you know, a van or a truck filled with weapons, right? Well, they would never do that. But it's an interesting argument to me, which is like, well, no, what if the cops do lose control over their armory or their, right, or some of their militarized vehicles, right? Should cops actually have access to that kind of stuff, you know, so easily, right? So readily available. The France riots, yeah. So they're hitting up gun shops, and then we've already seen the videos. We're going to be watching all these videos coming up. Cops always lose control, not always, but the idea that, you know, this perception that cops, because they went through 6 weeks of training, you know, the perception that, you know, your average cop is going to handle a situation more professionally than your average citizen, that is now in question, right? And in fact, in court, you know, they make arguments that, well, it's actually the citizens, it's the citizen is obliged to de-escalate the situation now. So actually, legally, the police unions want it to be so that the citizen, the citizen is the one that's responsible for de-escalating the situation, not the psycho cop. But yeah, we're going to see this footage here, them shooting up in the air. I just wanted to point out how funny it was that this guy has been like live streaming. He's been standing there doing this for hours. He's not in front of a fire. He's like in front of like a burnt car. He's been standing there for hours.
The night the riots were going on, that he was tapping his...
Just basically repeating the same shit over and over and over again. But guys, this shit is like, if you're a person on the left defending these actions, stop. You need to find a better argument. You need to find a more nuanced argument. Okay? You need to figure out how to condemn violence while also talking about the plight of the proletariat, the plight of the people. Okay? The regular folk. Okay? Because that's who's being fucked over here by Macron. That's where this anger is coming from, right? And what does Macron want to do? He doesn't want to fix the situation. He wants to militarize the police. Right? He wants to instill fear into the citizenry through police. We've seen it a million fucking times. I mean, goddamn, right? It's the same fucking pattern. These people are out here for a reason. Okay? Yeah, are there criminals taking advantage of the situation and robbing high-end stores and mom and pops and burning all kinds of shit down? Absolutely. But it is more complicated than that. The people that are out here saying these criminals are just out here, you know, like everyone's a criminal, everyone's just having fun, it's just a total riot. Oh, this is such a good song. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, let's get to it. This is inexcusable, folks. I mean, god damn. I mean, look at that. Holy fuck, dude. Holy shit. Wait. These fucking morons hurt themselves. Okay, who added the Star Trek laser noise? Okay, the fucking bottle rockets do not make the Star Trek fucking laser noise. Fucking stormtroopers out here, huh? Shut the fuck up, man. God damn. Can social media chill the fuck out? I'm sure that it wasn't. It doesn't look life-threatening. He probably, you know, broke his leg though, maybe.
C'est quoi ce bordel, frère?
Yo, what up, Rob MQ? Welcome back. OG Rob over here. Welcome back, Zeo Duke. Attack on Coffee, welcome back. Everyone, make sure you like and subscribe over there on Chrono Stampede's channel. He's doing it up big. If you like the video game content from a real motherfucker, make sure you check out Chrono Stampede's channel. Like and subscribe, folks. Chem Goblin, welcome back. Yeah, France is going crazy, and as usual, the you know, Sega Saturn for life. I remember not liking your comments and being ashamed that you're running around with that beautiful Sega Saturn logo. I remember you, Sega Saturn. You're disparaging that beautiful icon and the beautiful legacy of Sega Saturn. I remember you. You know how amazing the Sega Saturn was at processing 2D sprites? How underutilized the 2D abilities of the Sega Saturn were? Only did it on stream. Well, thank you so much, Chrono Stampede, for being here. People surprised at this. Literally, go listen to La Merciel. Look at this, man. Why are you allowed to parade around on Twitch, man? Holy shit, dude. Holy shit, man. I mean, my moderation tools are saying he's a ban evader. I can't believe people are it should be against the law to be such a terrible person and walk around with one of the most beautiful pieces of art representing you, you know? Like you put the Mona Lisa in your icon, you just like MAGA for life. I just wanted to see the last portion of this. Yeah, I agree, Chem Goblin. It's so fucking tired. All right? You know, gay people should just start fucking going into these right-wing bathrooms and just start, you know what I mean? Robloxing all over the place, right? They're you know, they're turning these LGBTQ people into fucking, you know, monsters anyway. Well, let's get some of these big-ass bears, you know, to hide in some of these bathrooms like Pennywise and fucking, you know, Roblox them, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I couldn't afford anything when I was a kid. I literally couldn't afford anything when I was a kid in terms of video games. Yeah, you know, just hide in a bathroom like Pennywise if I can get them. You know, just like the gay menace attacks the you know, the South, right? Just do it. Just do it anyway. Fuck it. They're blaming you. It was, you know, and it was not a justified shooting. Even Macron says it was unjustified. Even Macron says it was unjustified. Right-wingers in the United States that are still trying to, you know, look at, oh, that's totally justified. That's just a normal Tuesday in the United States. Just because mass murder has been normalized by the police in the United States, that actually doesn't make it right. You know, just because it's become normalized, you know, Oh, yeah, well, whatever. He was trying to kill that cop with the car, you see. No, he wasn't. Yeah, I did see. No, he wasn't. Yeah, he was. Anyway, moving on. So you don't have to prove that at all. You could just say, I'm looking at the video and I'm seeing something different from you and everyone else. I'm so sick of it. If you see the video, the teenager is not trying to kill the fucking cop with the car. Right? The cop runs up there and apparently, according to some eyewitness reports, he was screaming like, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, I'm going to fucking shoot you in the head. But that's, that's just a rumor. But we've all seen it in the United States, right? Cop runs up, get the fuck on the ground, motherfucker, get the fuck up, right? And just escalate. Sit up, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, put your hands up, put your hands down, put your hands in your pocket, take your hands out, give me your wallet, get your hands out of your pocket. Always reaching for a gun, bang, 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 bang. We've all seen it. Same shit. Some guy trained for about 6 minutes. Fuck 6 weeks, 6 minutes. You know, some guy gets out there, hair trigger. I'm in danger. I'm in danger. We've all seen it. Yeah, I mean, these fucking criminals that are out there taking advantage of the situation are mugging and going after firefighters. You know, and the whole fucking city's gonna burn down. But yeah, these people that are committing crimes, they need to go to jail. They're not voting. They're not, you know, they don't need to be protected by the left. But it's unfair to say that these people represent the left, because that's exactly what bad actors want to do. Right? And when the left comes out in defense of this and is like, oh, you know, insurance will cover it, insurance will cover it. Well, it's better than killing people. You know, burning property is better than killing people. I mean, every fucking time, right? It's a perfect distraction. As soon as if destruction doesn't happen, they'll use agent provocateurs to do destruction, because it is such a useful tool to look away from the actual problem. Because are we talking about Macron? Are we talking about his corruption? Are we talking about the reasons why these people are pissed? No, we're talking about, oh wow, that's blowing up, and look at the library burn, and look at them mug firefighters, and look at them shoot AKs in the air. It's counterproductive to creating progressive change, even in France, because that's what everyone says. Oh well, yeah, don't fuck around with the French, you know, guillotine, guillotine, guillotine. I gotta say though, I mean, look, you push people too far, they're gonna react. And they see a situation like this, and then, you know, and they have the news. I mean, European countries make fun of the United States and actually issue travel warnings to people who are coming to the United States about the shootings, right? People are well aware of the shootings. They're well aware of what it looks like when you've normalized this behavior from cops. Oh, justified. He was under danger. His life was in danger. His life was, yeah, clearly that teenager was trying to run him over. Absolute justified. 17-year-old mass murderer, right? He was going to be killing people, running people over with his car. Guaranteed that cop had to do it. They've seen what happens when the bad actors win that argument in the United States. They've seen what happens when the bad actors win that argument. They don't want that.
News. What started in Paris has marched to Marseille. Riots with a fireworks salute that have turned cars into mechanical carcasses, sacrificed in the name of vengeance across this picturesque city. In these chaotic scenes in the city centre, people flee the protests and the police. For days in Paris, the city of light has been alight with rage.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I haven't talked about yet that does need to be talked about is how the police are ramping up their violence against, you know, people in general. Apparently there's a lot of racism as well. You know, emulating what we see in the United States. Looks like, to answer your earlier question there, Zeoduke. Looks like it's garbage, like plastic bottles.
There's still a heavy police presence in the capital to quell the riots, as firefighters quell the flames. France's interior minister had said the trouble was getting less intense. Later, his ministry confirmed.
Yeah, no, then it started spreading to Paris.
Over 1,300 people had been arrested, compared to just under 900 the previous night.
Wow, 1,300.
Here it is the morning after the night before. So we are in the outskirts of eastern Paris, and you can smell the burnt rubber and tear gas from last night's disorder still in the air. If there are questions as to why this is happening...
Scanning back? Oh, yeah. Oh.
The writing is literally on the wall. Nahel, the 17-year-old of Islamic and...
Well, sometimes if I see something and I don't have a, I don't have a response to it, I just, because then I end up pausing the video like I'm doing now, and people are like, what the hell are we even doing? I thought we were watching a video. What you're talking about something,
North African
Scanners is a great movie.
Heritage, shot dead by police, was buried today, joining a growing list killed by French police. But if this wreckage was from a hangover that has lasted decades,
Trolls,
the headache
Attack
for
on
those
Coffee,
clearing up the wreckage is no easier to handle.
Right-wingers and trolls doing what the left should be doing, which is spreading their message across social media everywhere and everywhere, becoming warriors for their message. That's what that right-wing asshole was doing. It's something that the left doesn't do. No, we're too good for it. It's cringe. Oh, it's cringe. Yeah. Who's winning this fucking culture war right now?
This man came face to face with the mass who descended on his building, and so has asked us not to show his out of fear of repercussions. So what happened last night?
Ils ont voulu mettre le feu dans le magasin et j'ai supplié qu'ils ne mettent pas le magasin en feu parce qu'il y a des enfants qui dorment là-haut, il y a des familles qui dorment dans le premier étage. Il ne faut pas faire ça. Il a laissé tomber, il m'a dit on va prendre tout, mais on ne met pas le feu. Et heureusement, il n'y a pas eu de blessés.
Yeah, Attack on Coffee. Yo, the left is touching grass. When's the last time you've attended a protest? It's been about a year for me. I was protesting against the convoy. It's been about a year for me. So, yeah, I think the left needs to be touching more grass, and that's me included. Not just calling you out, bud.
Mais c'était vraiment une nuit très, très, très dure.
But here, grievances are converging into one. Increased rents and expensive properties made this estate agent a target of rage. Their protest splashed in this graffiti. What happened here last night?
Il devait être à peu près 1h du matin, par là qu'on a été informé par la société de surveillance. Et puis voilà comment on a découvert l'agence ce matin. C'est pas bien ce qui s'est passé. Maintenant, c'est pas une raison pour saccager des choses. On n'a rien demandé. On fait uniquement.
No, and it's bad, and in fact, it's actually counterproductive.
Travail, donc je sais pas quoi vous dire de plus. Là, je suis choqué des événements, donc j'ai pas spécialement les mots qui me viennent.
But for all the destruction, the deepest damage has been to the fabric of this multiracial republic by a growing list of young Arab and black victims of police violence.
Cette mort a été le déclencheur parce que beaucoup de jeunes se reconnaissent dans ce Nahel.
Yeah, they did. This guy's right.
En disant finalement ça aurait pu nous arriver.
Yes.
Et ce qu'il a subi, eh bien c'est un comportement policier que nous subissons aussi quotidiennement depuis trop longtemps. Il y a eu plusieurs personnes qui sont mortes dans ces circonstances. Donc oui, malheureusement, il y a une liste qui est trop longue.
Thank you for looking into that, Attack on Coffee. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have to, there's going to be a full investigation. And once that's verified, I'll make sure to repeat that. But like I said, we've seen it in the United States, right? The cops are escalating situations. Their own prejudices, racism, whatever it is, right? It's usually how they're trained, and it's usually the attitudes that are supported from the top down, right? Oh, you could bust some heads, you can get a little rough with them. Yeah, I got a little rough with this, migrant guy. Yeah, it's all right. Teach him a lesson, right? If those things are not punished, it can churn into escalatory violence, right? And then you get this, the fact that they're not trained to de-escalate properly, right? where de-escalation tactics are deprioritized. And it's the same shit you see in the United States. I can't stress enough how much you don't want that in your country. Okay? You don't want warrior cops who feel, you know, who get the goddamn vapors, right? And bust. I mean, like I said this last stream, I'll say it again. I just saw a video of a cop who was struggling with a guy who they you know, he was trying to pull him out of the guy's car. The guy was like reaching for the cop's gun. He was like, the cop and the guy were in the driver's seat, right? The second cop, body cam, right? Second cop pulls up. First of all, calls the McDonald's a Walmart because he was panicking, pulls out his gun and just mag dumps into the driver's side area of the truck that the cop and the citizen was in. The citizen wasn't in the right. I'm not defending the citizen's actions here, but I'm just pointing out these guys are not trained properly, and the police unions and, you know, whatever, you know, the authority figures, they defend these actions because, hey, it's okay to have a lunkhead that mag dumps into a fellow officer as long as that motherfucker does what we want him to when the peasants are out with their pitchforks, right? Because lunkhead's going to cash his check and not really think about the politics. Authority figures like cops like that. They don't want smart cops. They don't want critically thinking cops. They want cops that do what they're told for a specific reason, and that is to protect the moneyed class, the political elite, from the rabble, the regular folks, the upper middle class and below, everything below is the enemy. They are the enemy. Okay? That's what happens. So you do need to draw a line in the sand. I assure you, because it gets out of hand. And then all of a sudden, how are we supposed to push back against that? Right? Now you have this whole challenge of you have to, as an activist movement, push back against a body that has a monopoly on violence. In the U.S., you can get arrested for assault if you cover your face while you are being beaten by a cop. There are people who were being batoned and beaten by a cop, and they covered their face, and they were the court said that the act of covering your face was an aggressive act towards the cop and further justified their violence against them. That is America, okay? You don't want that in France. You do need to stand up against it.
The disorder disrupted a busy summer for tourism, especially for destinations like Lyon, hit by protests last night. The UK Foreign Office has advised travellers to avoid affected areas, but warned the locations are unpredictable. But as politicians respond, even if outbreaks end and the flames subside, the embers of injustice will still burn.
Simeon Brown reporting from Nanterre. Well, Anne Rudichely is a councillor representing Bouches-du-Rhône, an area which includes the city of Marseille. She's a member of President Macron's party. I spoke to her earlier and put it to her that the president had failed to address accusations of systemic racism within the police force.
Yeah.
I refuse completely this point of view. France is not a state which supports racism or discrimination. In fact, we are the country in Europe who provide
thank you, Kronos,
the most redistribution to the people and of course for poor people. So all the statistics prove the opposite, because since decades racism is less and less in France.
That is not what the United Nations is.
She's making anti-immigrant arguments. She's like, France isn't racist. The problem with, isn't it great? Don't you love racists? I'm not racist. I just think the core problem is that we have too many brown people coming into the country. They're poor and they smell. They make me uncomfortable and they're bad. And then you look at the numbers and they commit less crimes than fully naturalized citizens of France. They work harder. They would be more patriotic if they were just treated like human beings and allowed an opportunity in the country that they escaped to. Don't you love it? It's the same shit everywhere, man. It's just the same ignorant bullshit, right? The reason why it happens, it's not just ignorance and hatred. That's part of it, of course. But no, there's a good reason why you would support policies like this. Okay? Stuff like this benefits authoritarians, tyrants, right? It gives you need a boogeyman to justify. If you're not going to help people out and you're gonna fuck people over, you need a police force to hold them in check, right? Hey, I'm going to raise the pension age. Wow, people are really going to hate that. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? People are going to burn shit down. Well, I'm just going to 40,000 cops. I'm just going to hire more cops. I'm not going to make their lives better. I'm not going to listen to them. Right. So this anti-immigrant narrative is really great for that. Right. Because it's, oh, they're scary. They're from another land. It's the classic shit, man. It's been happening for hundreds of years. OK, it's not just wild like ignorance and hatred. OK, because I'm so sick and tired of the left leaving the why out of the narrative. Right. They just go, oh, look at that. That's really racist. That person's super racist. Yeah. And oh, isn't that bad? That person's being racist. Okay, and is there a reason why? What do we do about it? How do we, what's next? Yeah, well, I just do a show where I just point at racist and I go, look, that's racist, and I get thousands of views and buy my T-shirts, and it's like, okay, you're not contributing much to this conversation. You're just another person pointing their finger and saying, wow, look at that. That's disgusting. True, okay, but next thought. No, show over. 10-minute segment over on YouTube. 10-minute segment over. Analysis over.
Is saying the United Nations said now is the time for France to tackle the.
Look at that. look at the shoulder shrug. I don't give a shit about people.
The United Nations is saying. The United Nations said now is the time for France to tackle the deep issue of racism and racial discrimination in law enforcement. And many people agree that that is long overdue in France.
It's so easy to criticize a state when you don't know exactly the situation and the role of.
There's no way anyone outside of France could possibly understand the situation. It's much more complicated, guys. It isn't. Same shit. Same shit, different empire, same shit. Different fucking egotistical authoritarian Macron, same shit. Right? Is it any wonder why he uses a soft touch with Putin sometimes, right? Oh, I don't know. Let's give peace a chance, guys. Putin's not a bad actor here, guys. I called him over the phone. He said all you have to do is give up completely and just give us everything that he wants, and then he'll go away, guys. I don't know. Maybe we should think about it. Yeah, thanks, Macron. I will say, though, Macron is not stupid. He's savvy enough to be like, yeah, that's not really a winning message. And he's put his support behind Ukraine. But I wonder how the things that he hasn't provided, right? The support that he hasn't provided because of his proclivities, his right-wing proclivities.
Our state, since years, we create so many disposal to help poor people, to help young people. It is a minority who consider this is like an opportunity for them to destroy everything.
So they're a minority. They're really small. They don't really make that big of an effect, but they're also the source of our problems. Same shit, same shit, same shit.
Rock everything.
Young Black and North African people are 20 times more likely to have their ID checked by police than the rest of the population. The courts in France have recognised that there is a degree of racial profiling. You are in denial about the situation being faced by those communities.
No, I'm not in denial, no, but, you cannot blame all the
draw a line in the
justice
sand.
or the system or the state or the police. Even this death is dramatic. I agree. This young boy, even this young boy was himself an offender. Don't forget it. But it's not
He
an
was
excuse.
a 17-year-old boy shot at point blank by a police officer, something described by your own president as unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, I say exactly the same. But
I agree. I'm not going to propose solutions, and I'm certainly not going to agree to solutions. I'm going to gaslight you every time you propose something. I'm not going to take any blame, but I will acknowledge that, boy, that does make us look really bad. I can't really explain that one away, but let me give you a bunch of other excuses.
The prompt answer, and the policeman was taken in custody rapidly. And because we are in a democracy, we must let the justice make it work. And this dramatic death cannot justify or excuse the violence, riots, or the fencing, of the pillage, etc.
She's not wrong.
You and the president want parents to take responsibility for their children, that they should be keeping them indoors.
Yeah, keeping them indoors and keeping them away from the goddamn Sega Genesis. Have you seen Shinobi? It is so violent, it gave me nightmares. I played Tenchu on the PlayStation 1. I cut a guy's head off, and I literally vomited in my lap. It was so realistic. These kids are turning into purge-seeking psychopaths. Thugs and criminals.
I just wonder what responsibility you think the police should have for using language like we are at war with savage hordes of vermin.
I think they go too far. But, you know, we must also understand them. You know, they are at the end of the loop of the process, and they have to face with all the problem of our society. And they are also killed by people, and they are aggressed by people, etc. So I think some of them are fed up now.
You are hoping and expecting things to calm down in the coming days.
Yes, and then we can have a discussion with association, with leaders, etc., with other politicians, parties, and to maybe to change something if it is need. Yes, of course.
And Rudishuli, thank you very much for talking to us.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. I would definitely like to leave now. Okay, woo! Woo, that was a tough one. Gaslit my way through that one. Boy, those immigrants are scary. All right. So once again, I mean, we could sit here and look at riot coverage till the cows come home. I'm sure there's a bunch of other streams that are like, wow, look at all this blow up. Look at that burn. We're actually going to be getting to the good stuff in Ukraine. So, you know, we'll be seeing shit blow up on a battlefield. Let me just say unequivocally, I don't agree with it. It's counterproductive. I don't think legitimate left parties in France agree with it either. If you are a quote-unquote legitimate, and I'm talking about have an actual chance to make change, to be in a seat of power, and you're supporting these riots, resign from your position immediately. That's pathetic. Okay. With that said, is a protest movement, is a political movement expected to be able to control every single individual that purports to support that movement? Any schmuck can say they support anything, right? And then go break a window. Does that person represent that movement, right? Especially if that movement comes out and condemns that person's actions. Why are we letting bad actors focus 100% on violence, right? Making it seem like this is just kind of out of the blue. This is just violence coming out of nowhere. Okay. It's nearly impossible, though, to have a legitimate conversation about this because the violence is so loud and so in your face, right? You can't have a legitimate discussion anymore about the plight of the people, right? It's all been drowned out about that. That's why it's so counterproductive. And bad actors will use that to their advantage, right? You'll try to have a nuanced conversation about class and economics and racism in the police force. And violence. What about the violence? What about violence? And it works. Regular normies see that and they go, yep, okay, yep, that's bad. I don't really support that. If that's what the left is, then I'm not on the left. And of course they're not. That isn't what the left is. Right? So to the lefties on Twitter, that is Twitter, by the way, is just completely fucking nuked. It might be the end of Twitter. We'll get into that later. But you know, the lefties on Twitter before it went down, before I was able to see anything, were all over Twitter, like, you know, making the usual excuses for violence. We saw this during BLM as well. Yeah, 300 page views per person. Is he fucking crazy? But yeah, if you're a person on the left defending this, stop. Just shut the fuck up. Okay, you're making us all look bad. All right, come up with a more nuanced argument than insurance companies. Okay, you're making us look like fucking morons out there. Do better, left. All right, that's it for France. Thank you so much, YouTube.